All right, welcome back to Talking Shop. We are looking at Luke chapter 8, 26 through 39. Demons and pigs and calming of storm. Well, no, we're getting after the storm. Anyway, lots of good stuff. Some great ideas on preaching this text. Real quick, take a moment to look right below the video. There's 2 workshops we got coming up. Preaching workshops in person. One in Vegas, one in Chicago. If you can make it, those are great opportunities to get better at this craft, which is what this is about. So we'd love to have you sign up and join us. But we got this wonderful text. Let's get after it.
To welcome in the arms of the King. I have punched.
All right, Luke chapter
And
8,
been knocked down.
26
Called
through
God a liar.
39.
And took his stride.
Jesus
Yet I'm
chucking
still
demons out.
welcome.
Lots of them. So let's get into it. We should say, because I think it'll, the context does matter. We'll see this play out. That he has just, it says he gets out of the boat when he's with the Gerasenes, because he was just on the sea and calmed the storm.
Yeah. Oh, very good.
That's where he just came from.
Yeah.
And so that's just happened. So then they get to land opposite Galilee, and he gets out of land, and immediately our Lord is confronted with whom?
A man possessed by demons.
Many demons, legion.
Yeah, well, it just says demons. I don't think we quite catch that. And we certainly have this story where we find out that it's many, but man possessed by demons. Up until this point, he's only encountered one.
Single. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Right.
and all of a sudden it's who had demons.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
And truly tormented.
Yeah.
Right? For a long time, it says he had worn no clothes. He didn't live in a house. He lived out amongst the tombs. I mean, this is a tormented individual.
Yeah, and you're
visually from the outside.
Later on, you're going to get that they had tried to bind him and couldn't.
No one could subdue him.
Yeah, so, yeah.
So before we get to those details, when this man sees Jesus, or I don't even know how to say it, when the demons within him see Jesus,
Yeah.
right, they respond immediately. What do they say?
Yeah.
What's their issue?
They cry out and they prostrate themselves before Jesus.
Yeah.
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 What have you to do with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God?
Yeah.
Yeah. I beg you, this English translation is usually do not torment me.
Yeah.
We were talking about that a bit. It is to examine, to expose.
Yeah.
It's like it's you're unveiling what's really happening here.
Maybe too soon, but enhanced interrogation techniques.
Yes, yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Spanish Inquisition.
So they immediately recognize that Jesus has the authority and even the right to do so.
Yeah.
And so they kind of jump the gun, like,
Yeah.
hey, don't do that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Please don't.
Yeah.
Have you ever wondered, does God take pity or show mercy to demons? Well, there's a little taste of that going on here.
Yeah.
But what you certainly have, and this is true in Luke's gospel, it's true in Mark's gospel too, but you get early on at the healing of Peter's mother, where then he was casting out many demons.
Yeah.
And they wanted to speak about him, but he wouldn't permit them.
He wouldn't permit them.
So the spiritual realm that Jesus is among there while he's walking this earth, they recognize who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even as the physical realm does
not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas
Or
the
isn't
disciples
quite
are
sure.
asking, who is this that even the wind and the waves
That's
obey?
true.
him?
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah, that just came before this. Huh.
So they get it. The demons get it. For he had commanded the unclean spirits to come out, and then you get this is that parenthetical chunk here, that he had been kept under guard, bound with chains and shackles. He would break them and be driven by the demons into the wilderness, out into the
Right.
Yeah.
into the. So this is I guess what's interesting is this is a known figure in
Yeah.
this region, right? They know, the people know this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is similar to the man born blind in John,
Okay, yeah.
where everybody knows
Everyone
he's
knows.
blind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. His parents kind of throw him under the bus, which is
Yeah, well,
that's a whole nother
that's
story.
a whole nother story.
So Jesus asks, "What's your name?"
And he replied, Legion, because many demons had gone into him.
Matter of factly, they let him know that they're Roman.
Yeah. Legion of
They happen to
demons.
be Roman demons. Yeah. But there is something, people make a lot of this, and I don't know how much you'd want to do in a sermon about it, but I think you could certainly bring some of that. Naming of things is clearly huge
Yes.
in the scriptural worldview, whether things are given new names or other things.
Yeah.
So the fact that he commands them to speak a name,
Right.
they give the name, like they
Yeah.
have, no choice to, but it's usually this sense of there's some control now over them. I think is the way we usually think
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah. You see it in the movies. They
Yes,
always
you
got to
do.
get the name
Yeah.
of that demon to possess control over
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Well, this comes even in the Old Testament where and where Moses asked for God's name. Who
Yeah.
do I tell them that you are?
Uh-huh.
And at that first ask, God says, "You can't know my name."
Yeah.
He gives it later, but he's
Yeah.
like, "No,
Right.
this isn't a control thing."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you certainly get that early on.
And this really isn't a step-by-step recipe for exorcism.
That's right. It is not that.
Yeah.
I mean, I always understood it. Why did Jesus ask the name? So everybody could hear.
Yeah.
This isn't one demon,
Certainly.
folks.
Yeah.
Let's get it out in the open.
Yeah.
This guy has many demons, and watch this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you also get in verse 29. Part of the reason is you get an imperfect there. The English is for he had commanded.
Yeah.
You could translate it as that he
had
continued to command.
Yeah, he was
Okay.
doing this.
Yeah, like he was doing this exorcism just was not working, and
Right.
and he's like, what's your name?
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
what's going on
Yeah.
here?
Yeah, interesting.
Why am I not connecting with you?
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then the demons beg him to not command them to depart into the abyss. I don't know how much you want to break that down for your people, what that means, the abyss, the realm of the dead, the unknown, chaos, uncertainty. I don't know.
Maybe it could mean maybe I don't know that you do a sermon this way, but even the demons don't want to go there.
That's right. That's a good point. Yeah.
you know,
Like,
like-
no, not there, not there.
No.
I'd rather be in the crazy
That's right.
dude living
That's
amongst
right.
the
Yeah.
tombs.
You know, this
Yeah.
sinful earth isn't so bad. Jesus, can you just leave us here?
Well, I'd rather be in hell with my friends than in heaven with a bunch of fuddy-duddies.
Yeah, maybe not.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, we talked earlier about it's like going to the water, but the abyss of the water is
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
deepest depths of the water,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So,
Yeah,
like,
the abyss is known as like the dwelling place of the abyss. The way you get to the abyss is through the waters.
It's truly abysmal.
Yeah, I mean that's where. Yeah.
Yeah. And lo and behold, guess what? There's a bunch of pigs there.
Oh, well.
In case you didn't know you were in Gentile territory, you know now.
Now you know.
Yeah.
There's a herd of pigs.
It is interesting that, and I don't know, maybe it's a convention in Luke. I haven't looked, but here they're called demons. Certainly in Mark's gospel, they're called unclean spirits.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so now you've got this link between these unclean spirits and these unclean
Yeah,
animals.
I think absolutely
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
But
So there's a large herd of pigs. Pigs are there. They're on the hillside, and they beg him to let them basically possess the pigs
Right.
instead.
yeah.
So what's strange is like they're under his authority no matter
Yeah.
what.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
kind of stuck.
Right.
And
Right. Don't torture us.
yeah, don't torture us. Clearly they know he's going to set this man free.
Right.
Yeah.
Huh.
Don't send us into the abyss. How about them pigs?
Yeah.
Can we go there? Right?
Can we go
Right.
there? Yeah, please.
And then
please.
this is where it gets kind of funny. I mean,
Yeah.
right? He goes, "All right,
Right.
go ahead."
Yeah.
And so they depart into the pigs, and then the pigs do what?
Going
throw
to the
themselves
abyss.
into the abyss.
They
Into the
run-
abyss.
yeah.
Yeah, it says they run into the lake, but again, lake being the
Yeah.
waters being the
So
entrance to the
this
abyss.
is where the context is helpful. Is you get this notion, you get it the same way in Mark's gospel too, with the same kind of progression, is as Jesus moves along, he is that, you're right, with Mark it'd be the unclean is made clean.
Yeah.
So you don't quite have that language, but he is cleansing
Yes.
like where he goes. So he's on the sea. The sea is
Chaotic.
tumultuous chaos, and he calms it.
Yeah.
Right. So the abyss, all that is dominated by his presence. He lands on land. It's an unclean land because they have unclean animals. With a guy possessed by spirits, he puts the spirits in the pigs who go drowned in the sea that he just like. There's nothing outside of his dominion and authority to control. Like he is where he goes, he brings the cleansing reality of God's presence.
That's very good.
And even because coming off a series on Revelation and now doing a study on Revelation, casting the demons into he's putting the demons where they belong.
Yeah.
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 Even by their own request.
Go to the pigs.
Yeah.
But he's also cleansing. The pigs are no longer in the land.
That's true.
Like
That's
these
true.
unclean animals are now gone
Yeah.
too. Like it's like where he is, like that order is sort of being restored.
And you can see it, you can laser focus down into the baptismal font, and the same thing is going on there. Even you have the renunciation of the devil. We just did confirmation vows.
Sure.
Do you renounce the devil in all his ways?
Yeah.
And so it's the old Adam drowning into, where the sins
Old
are
Adam
washed
drowning.
away.
You can play with that.
Yeah.
You can
sure.
certainly play with that.
Well, because it's the pigs, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that according to
Unclean.
the law, which is the old Adam's rules, right?
Yeah.
Versus the new covenant.
So if you have a baptism on the day you're preaching
It's a
this,
good one.
you can connect.
That's a
We
great
just
one.
drowned the pigs.
Oh, there you go. I like it.
Yeah. The herdsmen saw it and they are not happy.
No.
Yeah.
For several reasons, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and you kind of, it's interesting. So they see what's happened. They rush into the city, tell everybody, and the people rush out. What do they find?
a man whom they could not control
Yeah.
in his right mind, like the opposite of everything that they know,
Yeah.
clothed in his right mind,
On the throne.
and just sitting down.
Yeah.
So you've got all of that he was always naked, they tried to bind him and shackle him, and he would always break free and get sent off into the desolate places. And now you have this guy who is the opposite of that.
Right.
He is clothed in his right mind, sitting
Right.
at the feet of Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's the response? Because the response
Yeah.
is fascinating.
Yeah, it is.
What's the response of the people?
They were afraid.
Yeah.
They were afraid of this guy first.
Yeah.
Everybody was afraid of the guy they could not subdue. Now who are they afraid of? The one who exercised authority and power
Yeah,
over
right,
the
over
strong man.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so who's the stronger one? Who's the one even further to be feared?
Yeah, so as the disciples asked in the calming of the storm, who is this that even
Yeah.
the wind and the sea obey him? Now
Yeah.
these people in their fear are asking, who is
Very
this?
good.
Yeah.
That
Very
even the demons
And
are
if
subject to
Yeah,
his
that's
control.
good.
and it's no matter how you answer that, the prospect is terrifying.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
You know, this is real authority.
Yeah.
This is something far beyond us, and they don't want him to remain,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right,
Right.
with them in this regard.
Sure.
And you wonder if that's kind of the law hitting them. They don't want him to remain because if the answer is this is Almighty God, then they can recognize that they are like Isaiah, a people of unclean lips,
Yeah.
or, a man of unclean lips living amongst a people of unclean lips, and
Yeah.
they have now seen the Lord the Almighty.
Yeah.
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 But it's also the Adam Eve
and-
thing that we were talking about. It's when they knew that they were sinful in the eyes of God,
Yeah.
they hid themselves.
Yeah.
So they don't want to
Yeah.
be in His presence.
Yeah.
Right.
And so,
Yeah, and we talked about back during Easter time. I think I don't even know we did it on camera, but we were talking somewhere. But it was about that, the fear of the empty tomb.
Yes. Yeah.
In that, like, there is an angle of the fear that this really is the Son of God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that too is terrifying.
It's a
Sure.
legitimate fear.
Like it's a real, like, this is what we hope for, pray for, and it's here,
Yeah.
and that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Because that means everything we thought, like everything, sure, it's all we hope for,
Yeah.
but now it's here,
Right.
and that means everything changes.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's also still out of our control.
Out
Yeah.
And I think
completely,
I
yeah.
think that's really what's more terrifying than
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Right.
And that goes back to our catechism, right? Is that we love, fear, and trust the Lord.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And
Because-
that fear should be a real,
Real
fear.
fear.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, so they go, get out of here. Right?
Yeah,
and,
right.
And he actually does. Gets back in
Yep.
the boat, right?
Okay.
Interesting that you kind of get this little tail piece. The man who had the demons, he wants to stay with them, right? Which
Right.
makes total sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Jesus tells him to do what?
Nope. Go home and tell everyone what God has done for you.
It is a great little play there at the
Great
end.
little line.
Tell them what God is doing
Right.
in your life.
Right.
And he goes everywhere proclaiming what?
Yeah.
Jesus.
What
What
Jesus
Jesus
has done.
said, yeah.
So he
So
said.
so the terror again, maybe he's got it too, but gets it, right.
Yeah.
Like, yes, this is God
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. That's great.
And he's proclaiming these good things.
Yeah. Well, and he's seen the plus side of it, if you will, that maybe we don't always see. He's seen what it means when God has authority over your life. When it means that evil is
Interesting.
expelled.
Yeah.
In a way where I think maybe this is a turn where you could preach. Part of our issue with not being afraid of evil is that we think we have evil under control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? It's not controlling us, we're controlling. We're fine. We can say no anytime.
Sin is crouching at the door. but
And
you
what
must
this
master
man
it.
knew is that evil is truly controlling.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the better option, the good option, if you will, is instead to have a good God who controls you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so while
well,
it is still
that's
control,
very
you're
good.
still out of control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're now under the control
Yeah.
of a good and gracious God.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the other beautiful part is, like, as we were talking, Jesus calms the storm, and then and that brings peace, right? And we use,
Yeah.
like, when we talk about calming, it's like we use the word shalom, which is peace.
Yes.
And now everyone witnesses this man who was so chaotic,
Yeah.
so all over the place. Now he's sitting at the foot of Jesus, and he's calm.
Yeah.
He's peaceful.
Right.
And he probably senses that in himself.
Yeah.
And he says, why would I want to continue to be out on my own when I could be with the one who brings
sure.
peace and calm?
Right.
Yeah.
Jesus is showing the disciples how to make a disciple. And if you want to tie it in with seasons, we're talking about the Great Commission and Jesus sending the apostles into the Gentile, even like Paul was like to be feared, like this guy, murderous threats he was breathing out, and God changed him and made him an apostle, sent out one like
Yeah,
this guy was sent out back to the city. So he's employed, Jesus is making disciples here. It's a pre-fulfillment, if you will, of the Great Commission.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Good stuff there. Take a minute to like and subscribe if you haven't done that yet. Leave your comments below. It's helpful for everybody. And God bless your preaching.